Mr. Speaker, sir, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Members of Parliament and fellow countrymen. Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for the opportunity to share with members of this House how Fiji's tourism industry has been performing. Mr. Speaker, sir, since taking office, I have spent a fair amount of time with the tourism industry. I have mostly been in the West, but I intend to visit everyone across Fiji, including the outer maritime islands. I want to do so to hear their concerns and to pay my respects for the sacrifices of the last few years. Mr. Speaker, sir, the United Nations World Tourism Organization's forward-looking scenarios for 2023 shows that international tourist arrivals could reach 80 to 95% of pre-pandemic levels this year, depending, of course, on the extent of the economic slowdown, the ongoing recovery of travel in Asia and the Pacific, and the evolution of the Russian offensive in Ukraine, among other factors. More than 900 million tourists traveled internationally in 2022, double the number in 2021, though still 63% of pre-pandemic levels. Every global region recorded notable increases in international tourist numbers. Mr. Speaker, sir, Asia and the Pacific reached only 23% due to stronger pandemic-related restrictions, which has eased only in recent months, China being the main case here, Honorable Speaker. On Fiji's performance, Mr. Speaker, sir, despite lagging behind as a region, the Fiji tourism industry has been doing well beyond what we expected. Its strong performance has put us on the path of recovery. Next year, we expect visitor arrivals to return to pre-pandemic levels, and in 2025, we expect to grow by 3%. Since reopening our borders in December 2021, Fiji's hotel occupancy rate has soared, consistently tracking above 2019 levels. 2019 here, Honorable Speaker, being the benchmark going forward after the pandemic. Last year, we recovered 71% of pre-pandemic visitor numbers. By value, we reached 73% of tourism earnings. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Department of Tourism administers Fiji's International Visitor Survey, or known as IVS. The IVS essentially collects data from departing visitors to determine key indicators such as tourism spend and travel trends. This is quite widely used by shareholders such as the Fiji Bureau of Statistics and the tourism industry. Data from April to December 2022 shows an estimated 1.67 billion in tourism earnings. 1.67 billion in tourism earnings, Honorable Speaker. And if you take into account the airfare components, we are looking at approximately $2 billion in earnings already. Total per person per trip was 3,572, an increase of 6% from 2019's 3,379, which means every trip the visitors make, they spend more. And per night, earnings were recorded at $376.40, an increase of 70% from 2019 of 353. The Nadi to Coral Coast corridor accounted for just over 60%, with the north accounting for 4%. Vonolib and the surrounds, which promises high yield, is a region we are looking at specifically with the World Bank to grow. Mr. Speaker, sir, we recently launched the Fiji Where Happiness Comes Naturally brand. While we know there's great competition ahead, I'm happy to share that we had close to 50% repeat visitors, showing good brand loyalty. Overall, visitor satisfaction too increased to 93%, meaning people enjoy coming back to Fiji. On flights, Mr. Speaker, sir, We are seeing increased capacity into Fiji through our national carrier, Fiji Airways, who are recording bookings exceeding 2019, growing at an average 7% every week. The forecasted operating capacity in its quarter next year is about 2019, with a network growth of 23%. Mr. Speaker, sir, on Sunday this week, we welcome back twice weekly flights between Nandi and Hong Kong. The first flight was operating at 90%, or in the language of airlines, that is a fully booked flight, with forward bookings for 12 months recorded at over 16,193 both ways. Besides resuming direct service to Hong Kong, we welcome back our direct flight from Narita, Japan. This will also be a twice weekly flight. Like the Hong Kong flight, this is a huge win for tourism, for trade, for business, for investment. The Japanese market, Mr. Speaker, sir, contributed close to 40 million in earnings in 2019, so they are an important market for us. And soon we will also be flying to South Korea. Bookings from Asia are growing, with Hong Kong already ahead of expectation. There's also, Honorable Speaker, the call to fly directly into mainland China, and that is also in the books, Honorable Speaker, choice between Beijing and Shanghai. So while we are seeing exceptional numbers from Australia, New Zealand, and the United States, we can soon expect the gradual return of the Asian market. While we have natural friends such as Australia and New Zealand, we have a vested interest in diversifying our market. Mr. Speaker, sir, soon we will be adding 2 new A350-900 aircrafts, adding 60 more extra for each seats for each aircraft, and 16 extra tons of cargo by mid-2023. That means potentially new routes over the next 2 or 3 years, including in Asia. And here, Honorable Speaker, we are also looking at Seattle, Dallas, Houston, or Chicago. So it's quite impressive, Honorable Speaker. So we are going places we never thought we would. Potentially connecting, as I said, all the way to Chicago on the East Coast. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have been supported by partners such as Fiji Airways, Tourism Fiji, Fiji Hotel and Tourism Association, Society of Fiji Travel Associates, and the entire industry working behind the scenes to position Fiji as a desired destination. But there have been challenges. Some, like labor, are more profound than others. Then there are our greater issues, such as price competitiveness and impacts of climate change. All this requires stronger than ever partnership between government and the private sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I have shared in this House, we will use every avenue, the National Economic Summit, the National Sustainable Tourism Framework Consultation, the national budget, to ensure we create the right environment for tourism to flourish. Mr. Speaker, sir, the update I have shared, the number of recovery means more jobs. It means more employment, demand for food produce, opportunities to invest, opportunities to build and create. Mr. Speaker, sir, at this year's ANZ Fiji Excellence in Tourism Award, I shared with the industry that their success is our success. When the tourism industry thrives, so does the economy and related sectors. And when the economy prospers, so do the lives of our people and communities. We build roads that connect people and markets. We invest in education and healthcare. Take water and electricity to the most remote communities. That is the bottom line. To conclude, I would like to thank everyone who has, in one way or the other, contributed to where we are today in tourism. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you again for this opportunity to deliver my ministerial statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Tourism and Civil Aviation.